What nutrients do you need in order to support a healthy thyroid function? Hey, I'm Priscilla. I'm your Houston, Texas nurse. I'm going to help you take action today for a healthier tomorrow. Every organ in our body has thyroid receptors. And so our thyroid function plays a huge role in our overall health and wellness, especially as we age, such as minerals, stress management, and diet can really impact our thyroid function, our body's ability to do its job on a cellular level. So many people have thyroid issues today, and I did a previous video on things that you need to know about thyroid function that your doctor probably hasn't told you about. I'll link it below. And then there was a request to do something about foods and nutrients that can support thyroid function. So that's what we're going to talk about. As you may know, or as you'll see on the previous video, it's not so much about our thyroid function, but it's about our body's ability to convert thyroid hormones that are inactive into the active form. And what that is the inactive form of T4 into the active form of T3 to prevent the creation of something called reverse T3. We don't want to have too much of that because it actually tells our body to slow down thyroid function. So our body requires certain nutrients in order to get that job done, in order to not just support thyroid function and overall health, hi Hansi, but also to change T4 into T3. Lack of nutrients, lack of enzymes can make it challenging to do so or impossible. And then also locations such as the liver and gut become compromised, and they can prevent the conversion as well. Let's talk about some nutrients that you might know. Some of these you may not know. Some of them are kind of surprising to me. Okay, number one, vitamin C. Vitamin C is so important for our overall health. I mean, thyroid, yes, we need to have vitamin C for thyroid. People who lack vitamin C are more likely to have thyroid issues because a lack of vitamin C increases oxidative stress. If you want to have a healthy thyroid, you need to have a good amount of vitamin C in your life. And I do not mean supplement, I mean get it from good nutrient-dense foods. A lot of that's going to be things like fruits and vegetables, dark leafy greens, things like that. Just as a side note, vitamin C is so important for overall health in general. If you're concerned about your bones or your skin and collagen, did you know that we have to have enough vitamin C in order to have the collagen work in our body? It helps to prevent disease, all that kind of stuff. But just to clarify, vitamin C is not citric acid. There is a misconception. If you see citric acid as an ingredient in something, that's actually derived from mold, and it is a preservative. I have a blog post about that. I'll also link that below. But you want real whole food vitamin C, okay? There are some supplements you can take that have it, but I would always go for good food sources. Second nutrient that's very important for thyroid function is iodine. Iodine is required for healthy thyroid function. The problem that a lot of people run into is that they might have enough in their diet, but did you know that toxins and metals such as fluoride and mercury compete with the binding sites for iodine? And so in my experience, a lot of times people might have an iodine deficiency, and it's not because they don't have it in their diet, it's more so they have a buildup of fluoride or mercury. And if you think about reserving a seat at a movie theater, so if you reserve a seat at a movie theater for iodine, okay, that's the binding site. But then all of a sudden, fluoride or mercury come in and they take that seat. So then when iodine arrives, it doesn't have anywhere to sit. They're just wandering around, nowhere to sit, can't watch the movie. Its seat was robbed. That's what fluoride and mercury does. That's why toxic elements matter. And that's why detoxing and eliminating toxic metals from our diet and from our environment and making sure we are efficiently eliminating toxins daily is so, so important. So that's just side note there for you. Third nutrient that can support thyroid function is iron. Iron deficiency reduces T4 to T3 conversion. And remember, that is the crux of the matter. That is the most important thing. It also, when someone's iron deficient, it increases reverse T3, which reverse T3 tells our thyroid function to slow down. It also blocks the metabolism boosting properties of the thyroid. So if you are deficient in iron, there's a host of issues that can be caused and linked to thyroid issues. Then iron can be really tricky. So if you find it confusing, it's okay. If you get an iron level blood work checked, I would always check your ferritin levels. Ferritin measures the amount of stored iron in the body, and it's an early warning sign of iron deficiency when it's low. And so sometimes, you know, doctors don't check it. I would ask that they check it if you are having blood work done. It is, in my opinion, the most reliable indicator of total body iron status. And just like with iodine, maybe you have, with iron, the same thing can be true. Maybe you have enough in your body, but whether it's gut health issues or copper issues, sometimes people aren't able to utilize the iron as well. But really, first and foremost, we need to make sure you actually have enough. And ferritin is the amount of stored iron in the body. So it's a great place to start to make sure and to get a red flag if someone is on the cusp of developing iron deficiency. Fourth nutrient that's very important is going to be zinc. Zinc deficiency leads to an increase in reverse T3. Plain and simple. We don't want to have an increase in reverse T3 because it tells our body to slow down. You can get zinc in a couple, like the best nutrient dense source of zinc is going to be oysters. I personally don't eat crustaceans, and do what you will, but I would prefer to get it from beef, pumpkin seeds, turkey breast, and cheese are other sources of zinc. And then also you might think that, oh, well, if your doctor checks blood work, that's fine. But what's true for so many minerals is they are not the most present in blood. They are most present in soft tissues. Levels of zinc in plasma or serum are not reliable indicators for establishing a diagnosis of zinc deficiency. You could be deficient in zinc and not know it. That's why I do the hair tissue mineral analysis for my clients, and it changes their lives because hair is soft tissue. And when we check the status of minerals in soft tissue, we get a better representation of what's going on in the body. Sure, we want to have blood work levels, you know, within the normal range for blood work, but it isn't the best indicator. It's right here in the research. Why don't your doctors tell you that, right? It's not a great indicator for deficiency. 5, selenium. You might have heard about this. Selenium is present in Brazil nuts, for example. Selenium is required to make and to use thyroid hormones. It works with iodine and is required to produce T3. How cool is that? So selenium, I think on Instagram or on social media, there's a lot of people say, eat 2 Brazil nuts a day. That's fine. Brazil nuts are kind of expensive and I don't love them that much. They're good, but you can also get selenium in eggs, turkey, beef, cottage cheese, chicken, tuna, liver. Personal opinion is grass-fed beef is one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can consume. Probably second only to beef liver. So there's that. There you go. Selenium. That's next. Next up is going to be vitamin B1. So vitamin B covers a whole lot of vitamins. There's not just one. There's a lot. The one that most people are probably the most familiar with is vitamin B12. Vitamin B1 is thiamine, and it is a vitamin that's important to use carbohydrates for energy. It's needed for proper stomach acid levels. And when someone's deficient in vitamin B1, it's very common for them to have fatigue and poor absorption of nutrients from the foods that they're consuming. It's really important. So deficiency is also very, very common in people with Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune form of hypothyroidism. And also there are medications that can deplete people of vitamin B1. Medications that can deplete people of vitamin B1 would be digoxin, which is a heart condition medication, diuretics like Lasix, and some seizure medications such as Dilantin. Also sometimes antimicrobial or antifungal meds like Flagyl. There are things that we can, even if you need medication, it's always important to know the impact that even if it's helping you, what impact is it having on other aspects of your life? And so if you're on anti-seizure medication, but you knew it was depleting you of vitamin B1, you would do something about it, right? So always make sure that if you take medication, you know what it's doing to you. And I don't think doctors do enough of that for people, especially when it comes to nutrients and minerals. Fruits and vegetables are not really the best source for vitamin B1. People who follow a really strict vegan and vegetarian diet, and those who follow the AIP diet, which is the autoimmune protocol diet, can be at risk for developing deficiency, which is really ironic Because if you have an autoimmune disease, you're put on the AIP diet for having an autoimmune disease, it can lead to a deficiency in a nutrient that is required for energy. That's why highly restrictive diets can be very detrimental for your health. In addition, coffee and tea can prevent the absorption of vitamin B1 by breaking it down before your body can absorb it. So if you drink a large quantity of coffee or teas, that can impact the levels as well. Where can you get vitamin B1? Ironically, you can get it from egg noodles. I don't know if you eat many of those. I do not. Trout, black beans, tuna, brown or white rice, oatmeal, beef, there it is again, sunflower seeds, orange juice. So those are some food sources. Alcoholism decreases the ability to absorb thiamine as well. 20 to 30% of older adults have some degree of vitamin B1 deficiency, and it is also linked to heart disease and Alzheimer's. Crazy, right? Why do so many older adults have a deficiency in vitamin B1? This leads to the crux of the matter. And that is, are you absorbing the nutrients from the foods or supplements that you're consuming? Because we can talk about all the food sources of these things. We can take all the supplements that we want, but unless we are actually absorbing it, what is the point? You have to have enough stomach acid to absorb nutrients from the food you're consuming and the supplements you're taking. This is why gut health, or one reason why gut health is so important when we think about improving your thyroid function. How can you improve your stomach acid levels, make sure that you're absorbing the nutrients from the food that you're consuming, and things like that? There's so many things. I'm gonna tell you the simplest thing that you can do that greatly transformed my life when I was dealing with gut health issues, and it is not a supplement, it is an action that you can take. And that is to take 5 slow, deep breaths before you eat. And here's why. Our body does not prioritize digestion when we are in fight or flight, when we are running from a bear. It prioritizes survival. And you might think that's funny because you might be thinking, well, I'm not running from a bear ever in my life. That's fine. You might be sending signals to your brain that you are. It's just an extreme example of how when we're in a stressed out state, if you're running from a bear, your body's not like, oh, cool, okay, let's slow down and pump out this stomach acid so that we can consume a heavy meal. It's not thinking that. You're on the go, when you're eating really quickly, when you eat in the car, when you eat in a stressed state, when you're rushing through lunch, rushing through breakfast, eating as you run out the door, it is very likely you will have low stomach acid in those situations. Also, as we age, stomach acid production, it just decreases. So finding ways to support it is imperative. 5 slow, deep breaths puts you in the rest and digest nervous system. And that is when our body prioritizes things like proper digestion. It slows down. It's leisurely. It's not stressed. And even if you have to eat at your desk, even if you have to eat and there's loud noise around you or you're quote unquote stressed, whatever, try taking 5 slow, deep breaths. It is hard. It is very hard. I do it once a day and that's good enough for me. But it did change my approach to eating and it forced me to slow down. And it is a very simple tool to help you to improve your thyroid function because again, you have to have enough stomach acid to absorb the nutrients that you're consuming. And we have to have good stomach acid. Now, do some people need supplements to do so? Absolutely. But start with what you can first, like these small lifestyle changes. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you don't already have it, make sure to grab a copy of my free thyroid health freebie, all about ways to improve thyroid function that your doctor probably hasn't told you. It's linked below. Hope that was helpful. Take care.